Hey P, good to see you guys again. Hope you all are doing super duper. Today we're going to be reviewing Virgil's Book 1, lines 92 to 156. Okay, so hope you guys had a chance to review those. And once again, you don't have to upload any translations or anything because we've done that already. So just review the text, and I'll have some questions for you as well about some things from the text. And I just wanted to bring out a couple other things that probably we've talked about in class some, but just want to highlight a few details in our review. So. Right now, we're in the middle of Aeneas's big storm that hits Aeneas and his fleet, and storms are a important part of epic poetry. They are a fairly common motif, I guess you could say. Um, and we see Aeneas here, and the first time really he talks, he says, "Oh, both 3 times and 4 times blessed." Those to whom it befell to meet their death before the faces of the fathers of Troy below the lofty walls. So he's bemoaning the fact that he was not able to die at Troy, and instead he is in this terrible storm, which makes it sound like the storm is really bad. Either that or he's a whiner. Let's go with the storm's really bad. But also, your book, I think, has a helpful note here. Part of the reason why he is kind of this, because it seems like a little bit of an odd statement, but because in the sea, there's no one to, just dying at sea, there's no one to witness your deeds of glory, deeds of honor, no one to bury you as well. And those were all very important things for ancient warriors and all that. So I think that's probably part of the reason why he is so distraught here. And he talks about Diomedes as well, who was one of the greatest of the Greek warriors. He wishes that he could have died at his hand, but Venus had allowed him to escape, spirited him away. And then we have, he mentions a few other individuals as well. He mentions Hector and Sarpedon. Hector, as you know, son of Troy, or son of Troy, son of Priam, the greatest of the Trojan warriors, killed by Achilles. And then Sarpedon here is mentioned as well, and I believe he is a he's a son of Jupiter, and another strong Trojan ally. Both of them died at Troy. And you'll notice here we have a rhetorical device known as anaphora, which is a fairly common one, where it says ubi, ubi. Okay, so where you see that kind of repeated word at the beginning of phrases, or sometimes can be a couple words. It's called anaphora. Okay. And then we have the kind of a description of the storm that follows, and it's a very powerful and strong description. And there's a lot of hyperbole being used here, so very exaggerated figures, exaggerated language. So if you look on line 103, where it talks about raising the waves to the stars. Obviously, it's a bit of an exaggeration. So that's called hyperbole, when you kind of exaggerate that. And then you also see 105, a mountain of water. They identify that as hyperbole. Okay. All right, and then moving on here, more hyperbole when it talks about um, opening the earth between the waves. Um, Probably if you're in the middle of the ocean, you're not going to be actually able to see the bottom of the ocean. So it's probably a little bit of a little bit over the top. Then we get more anaphora with um, the words saxa and saxa getting used multiple times in there. And you'll notice how Virgil does kind of link this to a certain location. The this grouping of rocks he calls the altars. So it would have been something that the at least Roman sailors would have probably known about. And that's one kind of important thing too that you'll see with the Aeneid, and we didn't get to it a whole lot in this in our readings, but when Aeneas does eventually get to Italy, there Virgil uses all sorts of different places that would have been familiar to his audience. Okay, so that's kind of another thing that's really makes the Aeneid thoroughly Roman. You'll hear people talking about how he just kind of ripped off Homer, and he does obviously borrow very, very heavily from Homer, but he makes this a work that is very, very Roman, and something that his audience can relate to. Okay, let's see here. Line 111. This is one of my favorite different expressions. Miserabile visu, piteous to behold. I love the ablative supine. It used as to show ablative of respect. So you've got miserable to behold. You've got like wondrous to say. One of the best constructions out there. All right, and then we get this description of some of the ships that are getting smashed and afflicted by the waves. We see one that actually goes down, and then there are some others that just get absolutely battered. Couple things to point out here. I really like the imagery he employs. Line, I guess it's 118, where he says they appear. Okay, he gets your verb right up front, and then scattered, swimming in the vast whirlpool. And then you don't know what's actually scattered, what's actually swimming. Okay, and then he gives you the subjects, and it's all drawn out through the arms of men, the planks, and the Trojan treasure through the waves. It's just a really, really powerful picture of how he's able to kind of string that out in the line. Okay. Then we get a really nice use of anaphora, line 120, line 121. You get yam, yam, and then the next line, et qua, et qua. So that kind of that repetition at the beginning of the phrases. Okay. And then you have that another kind of powerful line, 122, 23, that with their joints having been loosened, the joints of the sides loosened, they all receive the hateful floodwater, and they split with their seams. So you kind of get this with cracks. You get this picture of the water just kind of rushing into to the boats, and there's nothing they can do. And then the deliverance comes. line 124, and this is one of my favorite images here, with Neptune kind of just raising his head above the water. It's just a lot of fun. Line 124, you get a nice alliteration with Magno Miscara Murmura. Okay, and they also tell you is the onomatopoeia as well, because if you think of the word murmur, it's kind of kind of what it sounds like is what it means. So that's kind of a fun one. Okay, and then you've got like I said before, Neptune raising his head above the water, and he kind of takes it all in, all the chaos that is going on. And another kind of really nice word picture, besides for him raising his calm head above the water, if you look at line 128, you've got the scattered fleet of Aeneas kind of bracketing the line, and then you kind of get your verb widet, he sees. You get Neptune kind of getting up there and looking all around, and he sees everywhere, all around the line. He sees the scattered fleet. So it's a really nice word picture. And Neptune is a fairly wise figure. He knows exactly what's up. You see on line 130 the tricks and anger of his sister did not go unnoticed. So he knew exactly who was behind all of this. And then he rebukes the winds, not exactly in the Jesus way. He's not that good. No one is as good, but you know that already. But anyway, he really does actually kind of rebuke the winds, and he talks about line 132, does such great trust of your lineage, of your race, has that held you, and your book tells you the winds were of divine origin, but that does not give them the right to go mess with Neptune's domain. Okay, and then line 135, this is a good one. He has that quos ego, and then he just kind of breaks off. He's like, you, I, and he's about ready to, say something really nasty, but then he breaks off. And this is a rhetorical device. Your book tells you aposiopesis. Okay, so that's a fun one. Not super common, but it's pretty cool. So where you abruptly break off in the middle of what you're trying to say. Okay, and then line 136, he says that they will atone for their crimes with no similar punishment. Okay, and this is a rhetorical device or figure of speech known as litotes. Okay, so this is where you kind of do a negative to affirm a positive thing. So by no similar punishment means by a much greater punishment. All right, so that's litotes, and Virgil likes to use that one as well. All right. And then Virgil talks about his, Neptune talks about his authority in his realm. He says, that the authority was not given to that man, referring to Aeolus, but to me by lot, okay, or by fate. And Jupiter, Neptune, and Pluto, they're kind of the three big ones when it comes to ruling. Jupiter is in control of the upper realms, the air. Neptune is in control of the sea, and then Pluto, of course, in control of the underworld. So Neptune is basically saying, hey, Aeolus didn't get this job. This is my job. So he has no right to usurp me. Then line 140, I think this is a really kind of funny and sarcastic one, when he tells the winds basically to take their ball and go home. Um, he says, let Aeolus vaunt himself in that hall, and let him rule, um, with yeah, in the enclosed prison of the winds. And it's a volative or adjussive subjunctive, but it's really sarcastic. It's like, yeah, go to your little room, Aeolus, and you can have your little party there. So it's a really kind of putting him in his Aeolus in his place. As we talked about the last time, Aeolus is one of the lesser deities. So if Neptune, who's one of the big ones, gets on his case, um, he's not gonna have he's not gonna have much room to stand. All right. Okay, and then we get the kind of calming of the storm here. And I love that line 142, swifter than a word. So in the words of Coach Cash, happens quick. All right. And then Neptune has some help as well. He gets some of the sea gods and goddesses to help him. You've got Chimothoe mentioned, a nymph, and then Triton, who's a lesser sea god, help him with some of the Trojan ships and get them all back on course. Okay, and then in line 148, we get the first of the epic similes. Okay, and then an epic simile is just a comparison but it's usually pretty long and drawn out, usually a few lines. And this is a famous one. This is also the first one that we come across, and you'll see Neptune here is being compared to a kind of a public figure, public servant, who's very well respected. You'll notice in where is it? Line 151, where it talks about he is he's weighty with piety, or venerable with piety. I like weighty, with piety, or with dutifulness, devotion. Pietate, pietas, remember, is a big theme of the Aeneid, particularly with Aeneas, and it has to do with duty, and devotion, to the gods, to your family, and to your state, to your country. So pietas is a huge thing, and you see here Neptune being compared to this man. That is marked by that, and that is something that Aeneas is described as a man of pietas, and you can see that throughout the story, how Aeneas displays that, his duty to the gods, to his family, how he's always caring for his father, and then after his father dies, he's always caring for his son, and then of course the Trojan people. I mean, he's basically leading them, all across the Mediterranean until they get to home. Okay, so you've got this nice simile. The people quiet down when they listen to this respected figure, and they're about ready to, burn the whole place down. But then he gets up, and they like, oh, hey, we better chill and listen to this guy. Okay, and then let's see here. Yeah, it talks about him going on his favorable car, giving reins to his favorable car. That's always good. Oh yeah, and I'm sorry, I forgot the was it line 147? He glides on the top of the waves with his light wheels. Always a good one. I like Neptune, how he's displayed in here, but it's fun. So let me know if you have any questions about the text, about anything that's going on, any references or anything like that. I hope this is somewhat helpful. I know it's very kind of overviewy, but I hope it's helpful as you are reviewing. And like I said, let me know if you have any questions. For tomorrow, We will be doing lines 159, or excuse me, 157 to 209. Okay, so 157 to 209 for tomorrow in the review. All right. Love you guys, and I'll talk to you later.